Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Get Booked with Mary and Jennifer. Hey Jen, what are we talking about today?
It's Pride Month, so we're talking about Pride books.
Woohoo! Near and dear to my heart, since I am part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Ironically, you're the one with a giant pile, so you should probably do a couple.
I actually thought of 3 books I wanted to add, but I didn't. So, yeah, if you need Pride reads, let me know, because I am full of them. So the first one I have is a graphic novel called Backstagers. This one's great for middle grade and up. It takes place, the main character, he is more like an introverted kid, and he's been sent to this all-boys school. And his mom's like, you have to make friends. And he's like, I don't want to make friends. I just want to get through this and get to college and just be done with my life. Why do I have to make friends? And so he ends up joining the theater group. But for anybody that's ever been in theater and they're not the actor, they're the behind-the-scenes kids, this is the comic for you, because the stars are kind of the villain, the actors are the villains of this, and the behind-the-scenes kids the theater tech kids are like a little community within themselves. But there's also weird stuff that happens. There's this secret door that goes back to another dimension, and strange things happen. And there's also the class of I think it's 92. I could be wrong on this. Just mysteriously disappeared, and no one's ever heard from them ever. So this is a really cool queer theater book, but it's also got a little bit of mystery in it too, because there's it has the whole teenage crushes and whatnot too. It's super sweet. So that's my first one. So I should go again. So my next book is David Leviathan's Two Boys Kissing. This is considered a classic, I guess you would say now, in teen literature. This is also one of the most banned books across our country, mostly because of the cover. It's inspired by a true story. So it is about, it's narrated by a Greek chorus of the generation of gay men who lost their lives to the AIDS virus. So Two Boys Kissing follows Harry and Craig, two 17-year-olds who are about to take part in a 32-hour marathon of kissing to set a new Guinness World Record. So while the two increasingly are dehydrated and sleep-deprived boys are locking lips, they become a focal point in the lives of other teens dealing with universal questions of love, identity, and belonging. So this is a great read. It's a quick, short read. David Leviathan's near and dear to my heart. I love all of his books. So.
He's also very nice.
He is. So I should probably go again. So my other book is one of my favorite. So if you know me, you know I love superheroes. I love superhero comics. This is a book called Not Your Sidekick by C.B. Lee. What if your parents were superheroes and everybody in your family, you're gonna have the superhero gene, but what if it just bypassed you? Your older sister is a superhero, your parents are superhero, your little brother shows signs of being a mad genius, and then you are just yourself. So that's what happens. And this is kind of a little bit of a dystopian. There has been World War III or something, and so there's been a big, huge reorganization of the world, and so there are superheroes and supervillains, and it kind of has a little bit of an Incredibles feel to it with the villains, because there's a guild for supervillains and a guild for superheroes. But as the main character starts to kind of investigate more things, it's maybe things aren't what they seem, because she ends up getting an internship at the evil villains company, and maybe crushing on one of the girls who works at the company too. So it's pretty cool. I love it. This is the first of a trilogy. Actually, I think they're going to make another one because they did pretty well. So near and dear to my heart. Okay.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. We talked a little bit about this one briefly last week. It's called Once Ghosted, Twice Shy. It's by Alyssa Cole. It's part of her Reluctant Royals series. And what happens is the two girls were a couple, or the two ladies were a couple, and then obviously one ghosted the other, and now they meet again on the subway in New York, and the one who lives in New York had no idea that the other woman was back, and so she's like, hey, and then of course she's like, hey, you never responded and you just ghosted me, and so they talk through that, and there's kissing and things, and it's great. Alyssa Cole's Reluctant Royals series is also really great.
So my next is a graphic novel that came out this fall. It's gotten a lot of buzz in the graphic novel world. It's called Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker. It is a kind of a cute supernatural romance. Basically, Nova is walking along in the forest, and she runs into this white wolf. But it turns out the white wolf is actually her teenage crush, Tam Lang, who's back in town. And so there's a mystery of like what's going on, and Tam's trying to come back and like confront some old demons and issues. But also it's super cute because like Nova's grandmas are like a cute little couple that run like the local apothecary, and so they're trying to like look out for the town and make sure like no bad magic is happening and stuff. And so they're trying to get to the bottom of like what's the suspicious evil doing around, like how can we fight it? But it's a super cute read, and it's a quick one too. So yeah, so my next one is another series of graphic novels. So the first one is a quick and easy guide to they, them pronouns, and there's also a quick and easy guide to queer and trans identities. So these are really cool comics that break down pronouns as well as trans identities in a really super accessible way. And it's done in a very conversational tone, and also it's just adorable and cute. Who does not love cute things? I mean, I do. So yeah, these are great, especially if you're trying to understand more about yourself, or maybe understand more about your friends or loved ones. It's pretty cool.
All right, I'm going to talk about this one really briefly. We touched on this one too in an earlier one with the classic adaptations. But Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, obviously it is a adaptation of Little Women, and one of the sisters comes out in it, and it's just a super cute story. I'm going to show a little bit of the art. I'm a sucker for Little Women, so I really love that one.
It was quite good. Yeah, so this one, Ginger Queer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe, came out last year, I believe. It was nominated for an Eisner Award. It's really cool because it talks about Maya's path to identifying as non-binary and also asexual. And so it's kind of stuff that you don't hear about a lot in the LGBT community as far as publishing. Everything's usually kind of on the binary and very focused on like, you know, you're gay or you're lesbian. But this one is pretty cool because it kind of like walks you through their self-discovery with it in like a really cool way. I love graphic novel memoirs because I often read them so I can learn something that I am not familiar with. So this one was a really good educational read. So.
All right. Unfortunately, our copy is checked out, but I have a little cover snippet. Red, White, and Royal Blue was probably one of my favorite reads from last year. It's a male-male romance, and it's the President of the United States' son. The President is actually a lady, which is great because you also get the first gentleman. But her son and the Prince of England end up kind of in a fist fight, sort of, in the middle of a stately dinner, and of course it goes viral and they don't like each other at all. But they have to pretend that they're friends, and so they start talking, and of course, you know, there's a romance and it's great, and the banter is just great, and everything was great. I loved it. I didn't want the book to end. Read it.
Yeah, so my next book is a nonfiction book that came out last year in celebration of the anniversary of the Stonewall riots, because our LGBT rights started with a riot. So this is 50 years of parades and protests, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a photo essay book, but it also includes articles from the New York Times going back to like the 70s and whatnot. So it's pretty cool if you're looking to kind of understand more about LGBT rights and like where it all started. And also like, who doesn't love a parade? Hello.
Alright, Everything Leads to You. This is one of our favorite books.
Yes, so I for the longest time said I'm kind of tired of LGBTYA because it's always just about people coming out, and I'm tired of coming out. And those stories are very important. This is the first book Jen put in my hands.
It was so good. So it's also a Hollywood story, and I'm a sucker also for Hollywood stories.
Samesies.
So the girl, Emmy, is a set designer. It takes place, I think, after the summer after high school. And she's a set designer, they're putting a movie together, and she's going around looking for all of these things to design the room, and she stumbles across a whole bunch of things that are related to this one Hollywood iconic actor, who reminds me a little, he's never really named, but he reminds me a little of Clint Eastwood. It's not Clint Eastwood, but like, that gets the feel for me.
I thought it was John Wayne.
Huh, that's funny.
Yeah, because he's older. It works, both work.
It does. anyways, there's a romance. It's very cute. So you get Hollywood, you get romance, you get music. Excellent book.
Cool. So I've got the Gentleman's Guide to Virtue and Vice. So, or Vice and Virtue. I always get it backwards. So this one is by Mackenzie Lee. This came out a couple of years ago. I believe it also made the Nutmegs for the high school list that year. It is a raucous historical fiction. I cannot remember the exact pinpoint of date, but basically Monty is like this rich son of like a noble, and he's got a crush on his best friend, and it's never really worked out for him, and like all these things were expected of him, and he's like supposed to take over and whatnot. But he gets to do a grand tour of Europe before he has to come back and settle down. So this is like Monty's exploits in Europe as he travels his way through Europe. I guess you would call this like a historical fiction road trip book. That's very gay and very funny too. He's very funny, and this is also followed up. There's a sequel to this that has his little sister. That's Pirates and Petticoats, I think, something like that. Something to that effect. But yeah, so if you're looking for like a funny historical read, this is your book.
Alright, I've got a middle grade. This is called P.S. I Miss You by Jen Petra-Roy. This is an epistolary novel, so it's a girl is writing to her sister. Her sister has been sent to live with her aunt, and the little sister, whose name is Phoebe, is writing to her big sister, and she's pouring out all of her troubles and heartaches, and she's wondering why her sister's not writing her back, and she writes about this crush she has on this girl, and that she comes from a very religious family, so she's trying to figure out like what everything means. It's heartbreaking, it's very sweet, it's really good.
Yeah, I think both of us read that and cried a whole lot.
Yeah.
I want to say that one was also possibly banned a little bit here and there.
Probably.
So I know that the author was asked to speak at places, and then the parents would like get freaked out, and like they would be canceled, which is another form of book banning. Not letting the author speak at the school. So this is part of a duology. It's Audrey Colthurst's Fire and Stars. This is definitely a royal romance, but it's the main character. Well, it has. Sorry, I'm totally botching this. So it's a shifting perspective book. So you get the perspective of Princess Danaeus, who's come to town because she's supposed to be betrothed to, what's her name? I am so very sorry. Princess Amaranthine. Oh, fantasy names. So Amaranthine is the oldest, but she's considered the spare because her little brother will end up being king. And she doesn't want to be in charge. She doesn't care. She likes to break all the rules. She doesn't want to like do all the stuff she's supposed to. Whereas
princess does.
Exactly. And she's a horse girl. They're a horse country. And so one of the things they end up bonding because Denna doesn't know how to ride a horse, but you kind of have to ride a horse if you're going to be betrothed to like the king of Horse Town. And so Denna has a secret though. She's a magic user, and like magic has been outlawed. And she's trying to keep it under wraps, but it's not working out so well. So they end up kind of bonding and becoming a friendship. And it ends up, part of the reason I like this book is, you have fantasy books that are just like all about magic and dragons. But this one is a really cool political book too, because there's a lot of things going on between these two countries that are trying to merge. And also this other country that no one really hears from. And there's also an outsider too that's doing some stuff at the royal court. So it's pretty cool. It's part of a duology. The duology is written open-ended though, so everybody's crossing their fingers for book 3 because like these two together, like Fire and Stars, there's definitely sparks. Right. Because there's fire magic.
Alright, I actually just started this book. It's called Start Here. It's about 3 friends, 3 best friends, and one of the girls dies from leukemia right at the start. And the 2 other girls who are left are not the best of friends. They're not really friends at all. But they all had this great idea that they were going to sail they live in Ohio, and they were going to sail from Ohio to Key West. And before she died, Finley made them promise that they would go on the trip together. So they reluctantly do, and I'm only about, not even halfway through it, but there's some adventure, there's some romance. One of the girls is bisexual, but she's not really ready to tell the other girl who isn't really her friend, but sort of friends. I feel like they're gonna become really good friends at the end of the book, but
Maybe they'll kiss.
no, the other girl is
I'm just
straight.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. So, speaking about books with kissing, this is an adult romance book. It's called Hammer, Strings, and Beautiful Things by Morgan Lee Miller. This is like, what if like there was like an edgy kind of rock band that go on tour as an opener for like Taylor Swift, but Taylor Swift is actually secretly gay, because that's the main character. So Blair is like the edgy rock girl, and then Reagan is like the more like sweet pop star. And so it's told through Blair's perspective, and Blair is like a hot mess. So part of it is like she becomes really close with Reagan, and then they kind of like, you know, have some issues and whatnot. But then part of it also, can Blair clean herself up enough that like, you know, Reagan will actually let her in her heart. So, and also Reagan's not out too, so there's this whole like, is she or isn't she, and like the paparazzi's involved. So it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like a Hollywood romance, but it definitely has that celebrity romance to it. So it's super good. I liked it a whole lot.
Alright, my last book is called That's Not What Happened. This is actually a survivor story from a school shooting that happened. The school shooting happened 3 years ago, and you fast forward, and there's survivors kind of telling their story, sort of. Because what happened in real life is a little bit different than all of the things that people are saying happened. And one of the girls is determined to get the truth out. She's also asexual. There's some romance, there's some friendships, there's some hard truths. It was a really good book.
Yes, I read that last year and was blown away. It's the best school shooting book I've read, and I've read 4 or 5. So my last book is also another romance. It's by one of my favorite romance writers, and I will admit I did not read romance until I became friends with Jen. And
Get you every time.
I know, you will. But yeah, sometimes also during like a pandemic, you just need like,
You need something happy that you know is going to be happy.
yes, and you know, a lot of the fancy books I read, I have no idea, and the world's always ending. So yes,
characters die.
I know. So this is Melissa Braden. She's one of my favorite LGBT romance writers. So this was her newest one, To the Moon and Back. It is about a starlet who has kind of tanked her career by being too much of a party girl, and so she's having to do a lot of stuff she doesn't want to do to like be able to get back into the good graces and get on some really good film projects. So that means that she has to do theater, which she's like not crazy about. She's never done theater, and she's just like, how hard could this be? Like, it's a lot harder than she thinks that it ends up being. And so this is a shifting perspective book as well. So you have Lauren, who is the stage manager for the show, who's very type A and very organized, and she comes up against Carly, who's our starlet, and Carly comes in late, like parties the night before, gets the whole crew to go out partying, so everybody's late. So it causes some problems. So it kind of has like an enemies to lovers feel to it. But also, if you're a theater geek, it's pretty cool because it does a lot of behind the scenes stuff, like what stage manager would actually do. So it's pretty cool, and it's also one of those books where it's like, well, can Carly get her life in gear, and can Lauren kind of like relax a little? Will these two actually work out? Spoiler, they do, because it's a romance. But yeah, so if you're looking for a sweet read, this one was really good. So, and that's all I've got for today. I could go on for like another hour and a half.
No doubt. No doubt.
I know. All right, so thank you for joining us. You don't have fun shoes today?
I don't. I have a fun skirt though.
You do.
You have fun shoes.
I do. So I have my new Pride shirt, and then also I have these are my first Pride Converse. They have rainbows on the bottom, and then they're actually signed by my favorite LGBT comic writers and artists. So I've got Marguerite Bennett on this one, and Kate Lath, and Jim Bartel on my other shoe. It's a work in progress. I have more to collect.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, thank you. Happy Pride!